There we go. All right. Thank you so much for coming to the class today. I am super excited to share this with all of you because when we talk about universal laws, or when we're just talking about life in general, one of the things that we get stuck in and we forget is about the law of rhythm. And we all adhere to the law of rhythm. And I feel like after we go through this, you'll have a better understanding of how things flow in your life. And I think it will help eliminate a lot of that feeling of feeling stuck, overwhelmed, maybe even burnout, because sometimes we try to push through these rhythms when it's not time for us yet. So I think that I think this will be really beneficial. If not, it'll be fun either way. So we are gonna start off with I want us to just truly arrive in our bodies to receive this. So I want to start off with doing a little bit of a meditation. I want to start off with some breathing to just kind of align our nervous systems and then go into just a lovely little visual meditation and then get started. You guys ready? Well, all right. So you can do this part either with your eyes closed or open, it doesn't matter. But we're going to do an exercise, and this is kind of the shortened version of it of 360 breathing, okay? So with just sitting comfortably, just make sure that your spine is nice and straight and just kind of aligned. With heaven and earth, we'll say. And then what you're going to do is you are going to breathe in through your nose this first time. Oh, hold on. We got somebody coming in. So we will breathe through your nose the first time. And when you breathe in the first time, you're going to focus and put your intent on only expanding the front part of your body. So expanding the front part of your belly. And then we'll bring that back in with an exhale. This second round, you're going to focus and put your intent on expanding the sides of your body and your belly. And then on the exhale, we'll bring that back in. And then on the last round of this, we're going to focus on our backs, which is usually the hardest for us to do because, our eyes face forward. So and we have the peripheral. So everything that's in this area we usually do a really good job of, I'm going to honestly say, controlling. And then the back can be a little bit harder. Do not judge, just allow it to happen. And if you're like, I can't get that feeling in my back going out, don't even worry about it. This is all just to, again, to just help us arrive in our body. Okay, so we'll go ahead and get started. So first breath in, the front of our body, we're going to expand. Ready? Go ahead and breathe in as deep as you can. Expanding out the front, your chest, your belly. And then go ahead and just exhale, bringing it all back into the center. And then now on the next breath, we're just going to expand out our sides. So deep breath in, expanding out our sides, feeling that diaphragm really just expand out to the right and left. And then go ahead and bringing that back in. And then on this last one, we're going to focus on our back expanding out. So go ahead, deep breath in, back out. Holding that. And then just go ahead and exhale. And then if your eyes are not closed, go ahead and close your eyes now. And then I just want you to take a regular deep breath in, nice slow breath in through your nose, holding it. And then just exhale softly through your mouth, very gently through your mouth. And now just allow your breath to just naturally flow now and allow it to find its own rhythm. And what I want you to do is I really want you to focus on your own rhythm of your breath. No judgment, just focusing on your breath. Beautiful. So now, as you continue to allow that natural rhythm to flow, I want you to see, sense, feel, or just imagine yourself standing at the edge of the ocean, opening up those beautiful ears to hear the waves rolling in and out, nice and steady and eternal. And now let your breath just sync with the rhythm of the ocean. On the inhale, we're inhaling expansion, possibility, and light. On the exhale, we're releasing, we're grounding, we're bringing in peace. And then I just want you to just feel your body soften to that rhythm. Just knowing that you're safe here, that you're safe to be here, that you're safe to learn. You don't have to figure anything out today. All we're doing today is just receiving, just like the rhythm of that ocean, just receiving. And now that we're in this beautiful rhythmic flow, your own natural rhythmic flow, when everyone is ready, you can just gently open up your eyes, bring that sense of rhythm and presence with you, and then we will get started. All right. Love it, love it, love it. Okay. I like to do that 360 breathing whenever I'm feeling nervous or I need to ground because it really focuses and forces me to go inside. So I usually do 3 rounds of that. Today we did one because for time's sake, but I usually do 3 rounds of that. Okay, so let's dive in. Before we really get into the nitty-gritty of what the law of rhythm is, I always want to kind of set the foundation of where it originated, how it came about, and the theory of it. So if you've been following me, you know that the law of rhythm is really connected to those hermetic principles. So it comes from hermeticism. And hermeticism is one of the oldest spiritual systems on earth. And just for clarity's sake, it is not a religion, but it is this body of wisdom that really explains how the universe works. And it originally came from Thoth, the Egyptian god Thoth. And then it also is combined with the Hermes Greek god, which then came down. I'll say came down, but came into who Hermes Trismegistus, who really took it and kind of ran with it. And fun fact, in doing my research, because I am such a research nerd, and I love to know where things get started. There's a lot of research out there, believe it or not, that says Hermes Trismegistus was actually Jesus's teacher to help him learn these beautiful laws of spiritualism from 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 the cosmos level versus a lot of individual levels. So this is really where these principles really started to take off. So his writings really influence everything from alchemy to even the Renaissance science. So oftentimes we talk about the 7 laws of the universe. There are many laws, many laws, but these 7 are the main laws, And then, and then there's all the other laws that come after it. But I'm just going to go over briefly what the seven laws currently are, and then we're going to go into the law of rhythm, which is one of the things that I think really is one of the most important ones for us to understand, and one of the hardest ones to understand, probably besides the law of mentalism. Okay, so the first law is the law of mentalism. It means that everything begins in the mind. Reality starts as a thought or through consciousness. And it is believed that even our universe was created through mentalism. And it all started with just this simple thought. So the mind creates everything. The mind creates your reality. The second one is correspondence. And this one's very famous in the spiritual world. We always say as above, so below, as within, so without. It is very true. What we cook up inside reflects on the outside. And we are a reflection of each other. So when we run into people and they may trigger us, it is actually a reflection of something that is going on inside of us that maybe we don't recognize. I always call it feedback. So that's when the law of correspondence kicks in. And then we have the law of vibration. Everything is moving, nothing is static, nothing rests. Everything is in constant motion. Even the objects that we see that are solid, believe it or not, there is a vibrational tone to them, and they are always vibrating. Maybe not as fast as other things, which is why we see it as solids, but it's not at rest. It's always moving. And then the next one is polarity. Everything in this world has opposites. This earth was created on polarity and opposites. We have things such as light and dark, hot and cold. Contrast is so essential for our learning. So, polarity actually really does help us when we are growing and when we are expanding. And then we have cause and effect. Every action has a reaction. Nothing happens by chance. I always use the example that, my cause is when I'm feeling lazy and I just want to sit on the couch and watch Netflix all day long, all week long. The effect of that is my house doesn't get clean. I almost said perform in my business, and I don't want to say that, but like I don't do the stuff that I want to do in my business. Um, Things get neglected, and that's a result of that. So everything, whether good or bad, has a cause and effect to it. And then this is a principle, this sixth principle is one that oftentimes people don't quite understand, which is the law of gender. It has absolutely nothing to do with male or female. The law of gender represents masculine energy and feminine energy. And creation and everything that we really do emerges from the balance of masculine energy, which is that actionable energy, and feminine energy, which is that receptive, nurturing energy. And as you all know, the goal is to try to always keep those in harmonic balance. And then finally, what we're going to talk about today is the law of rhythm. And everything flows in cycles. Just like the ocean, the tides come in, the tides go out. Things rise, things fall. And that's going to be our focus of today. And Hermes actually said, everything flows out and in, everything has its tides, all things rise and fall. And today, that's exactly what we're going to be learning about. All right. So let me just check and make sure that we're all good. No questions in the chat. Let's dive in to the law of rhythm now that we have really set the foundation of hermeticism, gave you a little background of where it came from, and now let's see how it works in the universe and in our lives. And just for the record, I'm going to give you that theory part, and then we're going to actually apply this to ourselves because I don't like to give theory without actual practicality. because then it just remains in theory and then we forget about it and we don't really focus on it. So that's how we're going to work today. All right. So at its core, the law of rhythm teaches this simple truth. Nothing in life is ever static. As Hermes said, everything rises and falls, everything expands and contracts, comes and goes. This is the natural order of how rhythm works. So, I have an example here. Hopefully you guys can see it. It's like your pendulum. I don't know if any of you like pendulums. I love to play with them because I think they're a lot of fun. But when we have a pendulum, the pendulum actually moves in rhythm. So when we ask it a question, and I'm not going to do that, I'm just going to hit it, but like it has a rhythm of even how it swings. It swings right to left, it can swing back and forth. And that's a lot. I love how not how the law of rhythm works. And it works that way in our life. So the universe is always requiring movement. Nothing is ever just sitting there and resting, always in movement. Even when my butt is sitting on the couch at Netflix, I'm still moving, right? I have my cells that are moving. I have the energy within them that's moving. My heartbeat has a rhythm to it. Always, everything is always moving. And so when and so the other example that I want to give you, and I didn't bring one, I'm sorry, is like a coin, right? The coin has two sides. There's two sides of the same coin. And even in that, there is a rhythm. Okay? So now let's make this rhythm part of what our natural world is. So I'm going to give you some examples of that. And obviously, you guys probably do know these, but I just want to do them as a reminder. So let's talk about the moon and the ocean. We talk about lunar cycles, right? The moon goes through a full cycle every 29.5 days. We have the waxing to full, the waning to new. The ocean responds to this gravitational pull that is creating, and that's how the tides are created. So if you notice, the ocean doesn't ever fight the ebb and flow in the way that it moves. When the tides retreat, it isn't in a loss, it's in preparation for the next wave that is going to happen. So life is exactly the same way. We have contraction and pause that actually prepares us for the next rise that's coming. And it's usually in that contraction and pause that I'm even guilty of this, people freak out about. So that's one of the things that we're going to talk about a little bit later is that pause. Another example, which I just kind of briefly said about myself when I'm sitting my butt on the couch watching Netflix, is your breath and your heartbeat. So what I want you to do is I just want you to close your eyes, place your hand right on your heart space, and I want you to just connect with your heart and just really feel your own unique rhythm of how your heart flows, how that beat catches that rhythm. And I just want you to feel that just for a moment. And now you have that rhythm of your heartbeat. I want you to really focus on your breath and how your breath naturally flows in and out. The lungs expand, then contract, just like your heartbeat pushes blood out, then fills again. And just really connect with that. And this piece, especially with the breath and the heartbeat, is really important when we're talking about the law of rhythm within our own cycles. If you ever feel like you are out of sync, just taking 2 minutes just to connect with the heartbeat and connect with the breath can actually help you get back into rhythm. All right. And when you're ready, you can go ahead and open your eyes. But just so that you understand, like even your body's vital functions obey to this rhythm. And I love this because life itself is just so rhythmic. And your body is such a perfect reflection of universal order. Okay, so I'm going to give you this last example, which is emotional cycles. And let me tell you, I really know this cycle. So, your emotions, even throughout the day, ebb and flow. There are days where we have high motivation, we are joyful, we are really just feeling like we're in the flow. And then maybe we go to bed and the next day we wake up and we're feeling low, unmotivated. I just don't want to do anything. We even have those throughout the day. We can wake up. I'm not the best morning person, so I wake up and I am in that low motivational mood. I don't want to be talked to. I don't want to be bothered. I want to sit in my own quiet with my cup of coffee. And then, usually, which is why I usually schedule these workshops at 10 o'clock, at 10 o'clock, all of a sudden, I'm happy, I'm peppy, I'm ready to go. And that's part of my ebb. And then, as the day goes on, and I hit about 4:30, my flow then drops a little bit. Not necessarily that I'm not motivated, but it now has dropped into relaxation mode. Or I'm going to say a little bit more relaxed because now I know that it's dinner time and I actually will get to like sit down, allow my mind to calm down. And then when it hits, I like to say at 10 o'clock, but for transparency's sake, when it hits about 8 o'clock in the evening, my brain starts to completely shut off and it's preparing for my sleep cycle. It's getting me ready to go to bed. So we have emotional cycles even when we are experiencing things that are triggering, things that are even trauma related. We can flow through the day maybe feeling happy, excited, and then something triggers us. And now we start to feel, I don't know, it could be overwhelm, it could be stress, it could be panic. And then when we kind of catch that flow or we start to kind of iron that out a little bit, maybe the panic and the stress doesn't go away, but there might be a little bit more than that like from the chaos to a little bit more of the calm. So we are constantly moving through these cycles every single day. Okay. So let's apply this to your life. When we resist rhythm, that's when suffering truly arises. We try to push through the low energy. We try to force inspiration during downtime, or we judge ourselves for just being in the pause. A lot of times, the result of that is we think that we have failed or we're not doing something right. But in fact, that is the contraction phase. And it's in this contraction phase that oftentimes people will call the void. I call it the void. It's when we, in our rhythm, is needing rest to prepare for whatever we're getting set up for next. And we as human beings have been so conditioned to always go, 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 rest or that being stuck in that contraction or rest phase, which the universe will deliberately do to us, is seen as I'm not productive, I'm not doing my work, I'm not, is usually what we fall into. So, one of the ways to really start to learn how to understand your rhythms is first of all by tracking your cycles. And I always recommend journaling, even if you're not sitting there and you're not, going through it and journaling like a whole bunch of stuff. But even if you have a journal where you open it up and in the morning you write, right now, today I feel, today I feel happy. And then in the evening, you reflect back on that. Did my happiness stay in flow? Where did it come into a little bit of distortion? Where was the influx? And writing that down. And then what you will see eventually, if you're consistent and disciplined, 365 days, and you go back to look at it, you will start to see the natural rhythm of how you move and how you flow. This is beautiful because we all go just like the seasons, we go through those seasons. We have moments where, or even months, like right now, I'm in my hibernation month where it's time to rest, relax, rejuvenate, self-care. And then I have those months, and we all experience this, where I am motivated. I am on the ball. I am in creative mode. I am feeling good. And then maybe there's those months again where after that creative mode, where now I'm just kind of sailing through. This is a beautiful way to really understand your own natural flow. And the reason that I'm saying this is because maybe there's something that you're wanting to do and you're maybe on the downside of your flow where you're supposed to rest and relax. If you're in that period and you try to push through that period, I hate to say this, but the universe is not going to let you move forward because it's saying you need to relax so we can prepare you for that next thing that you're doing to push. So it's so important for us to really understand, and this takes a lot of connecting it into our own stillness, our own like going within, which is another thing that people oftentimes struggle with because I don't know about you, but sometimes I don't want to hear that I have to be on that pause because for those of you who know me, I like to go. But it's so important for us to honor that. And so that's the next phase is the honoring phase. Really giving yourself permission to rest without guilt. And the universe is showing you that ebb and flow is so necessary for your life. Imagine being at 365 days, always on the go and always on the hustle. Our nervous systems cannot handle that overload and would completely burn out. So, when you are honoring yourself and giving yourself permission without guilt to be in this state or this pause, these are the times that I always tell people spoil the crap out of yourself. If you want to go for a spa day, go for a spa day. If you want to set the rhythm of meditating in the morning and in the evening, do it. Or simply don't do anything. It doesn't matter because what is happening is when you honor this phase, you are actually telling the universe, I'm allowing this integration to fully come into my body. So the next part is reframing that resistance. And this is, I always want to share personal examples because I really want people to understand that I am human too. Resistance is not my friend when I'm in a pause, it's not my friend when I'm in a pause cycle because my resistance literally hits me, like slaps me upside the face. But trying to reframe that resistance when we are in a cycle of pause can really be hard because we default to that, well, I'm feeling stuck or I'm frustrated or I'm not moving forward or I'm not. That's the thing that we fall into. And if we can sit back and say, well, wait a minute, I really want to look at all these I'm nots and really see it for it being in the rhythm of your own ebb and flow, we can then actually reframe it of, oh, you know what? I'm just resting right now. And I say this to myself a lot. I'm resting right now. What's to come is going to be awesome and I can't wait for it. So I really want to rest so that I can be prepared and fully step into whatever is coming next. So just like the ocean, as the ocean comes in, the ocean comes out. There is no failure in the way that that ocean works. There is no failure in the way that you're ebb and flowing, only movement. Okay, so we're going to talk about visualizing cycles. So go ahead and close your eyes again. And I want you to imagine a circle of light just surrounding you. It doesn't matter what color light it is, however it comes in, but I just want you to see, sense, feel, or imagine this beautiful circle of light surrounding you. And I want you to ask that beautiful light to show you your life seasons and how they flow in and out. Your expansion seasons, your contraction seasons, your season of pause, and then your season of renewal. And each season that it shows you, I just want you to allow yourself to ride each one of those waves consciously and connecting to the fact and knowing that it has a purpose. And I just want you to sit there with that just for a little bit. And also just take notice in your body. What season maybe resistance comes up at? What season really flows and you can feel your energy open up and lighten? Beautiful. And when you're ready, you guys can go ahead and just open up your eyes and come back. Okay. And what I want you guys to do is I really want you to hold on to the essence of that flow. Because now that we talked about some of the practical ways in which it happens in our life, I really want to bring this into your own experience. So before we get started, if you don't have a pen or paper or and you want one, because we're going to do a little bit of an exercise here, go ahead and just take a couple seconds to go grab it. If not, we will completely dive into this next section and we're going to have some fun. And then, of course, I just want you just for a moment so we could just make sure that we're in alignment with our nervous system. I just want you to check and just check, are you comfortable in your seat? I want you to just kind of look forward, whether you have a window in front of you or find a window that you have. If you don't, I want you just to imagine gazing out that window and looking out into the horizon and just connecting with the horizon, feeling the calm of it. And then for safety, I just want you to identify wherever your exits are. Maybe it's the door to the room that you're in. Maybe if you're like me, my exit is actually really the window. But I just want you to acknowledge that, and we're just letting our brain know that we are ready to move into this next exercise. And then just to kind of let our energy just, come into flow, you can move back and forth, sway back and forth, side to side. One of the things that helps keeps us comfortable is just doing some soothing techniques. Maybe it's just kind of hugging yourself, touching your face, just letting your body and your nervous system know that you are safe here. You can just kind of hug yourself. This is the one of the ones that I do. Even when you're someplace and you're sitting like this, it's your brain actually letting you know that your nervous system needs to be soothed. I do this a lot. Just allow your nervous system and just know that all of you guys are welcome here. Any way that you show up, you are more than welcome here. All right. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to imagine your life as a landscape. And in this landscape, you are moving through the seasons. Each season has its own energy and its own purpose. We're going to recognize that no season is better or worse than the other, that each one is just necessary for our growth, our balance, and our renewal. So, what I want you to do is just think about your season of spring. This season is usually the season of new beginnings. This is when we get to see all the babies come out. It's a time of fresh ideas, opportunities. A lot of times, creative expression begins to emerge. We start to feel curious, adventurous, and maybe it's the time where we're ready to plant those seeds of what it is that we really want to grow. And so I just want you to sit in the energy of spring. Just allow that to come in. And maybe your body is already telling you this is what your spring feels like. And I just want you to sit with that just for a little bit. And just make some mental notes about what comes up for you in spring. All right. So now let's move into summer. Summer is usually about expansion, visibility, momentum. A lot of times during summer, especially because it's moving with the rhythm of the sun, right? Our energy is high, our ideas are flowing, and action feels natural, not forced. And this is a time where we can be seen, we can shine, and we can make things happen. So I want you to sit in the energy of your summer. What does that feel like? Feel how it connects to the natural rhythm of your body. All right. And just make notes of that. And then also note, does your summer feel more expansive and flowing than your spring? Maybe it's your spring that feels that way. Remember, neither season is better or worse. It's just our rhythm and our flow. All right. Now let's move into fall. And fall is usually a time of harvest and release. It's fall where we are starting to review, maybe even evaluate and refine who we are and the things that we're doing. It could be letting go of things like projects, beliefs, maybe even people or habits that are no longer serving us. And it's during this time of fall where fall really teaches us wisdom and discernment. So I want you to just feel into that. What does your fall feel like? What does it create for you? What does it allow you to let go of to make room for what's going to come? All right, and then let's move into the last season of winter. And I'm going to tell you, I am full blown into this season right now. And this is the season of stillness, reflection, and inner rest. Energy is quiet, it is introspective, and it's in this time that it's also regenerative. And just as the earth rests under its blankets of snow, your body, your mind, and your spirit need these pauses to restore balance. I call this time the hibernation mode. I absolutely can feel the exact moment that I go into the slow. It's almost like my body instantly switches. And so I want you to just feel into this. How does this essence sit within your body? Okay, beautiful. All right, so now we're going to do some really good reflection. Now that you've experienced, and saw some of you even take notes, that you've experienced how your seasons feel and connecting with them. I'm going to ask you some questions. I'm going to give you like a minute or so to just kind of to answer these questions and take notes. So the first question that I want you to reflect back on now that you've experienced your seasons is, which season are you currently living in right now? Which season are you currently living in right now? Okay. The next question is, am I moving in harmony with this season, or am I trying to force expansion when I need rest? Or am I trying to push forward when it's time to release? How are you moving in harmony with this season? Beautiful. Okay. The next question is, what signs is life giving me right now? So, for example, maybe opportunities are coming very easily to you. Maybe it's the opposite. Maybe doors are closing to redirect you. What signs is life giving you right now? And then the next question is, what happens physically, emotionally, or mentally when you try to push your rhythm? What happens physically, emotionally, or mentally when you try to push your rhythm? And now here's the final question. And I'm going to ask you to be really honest about it. So, the final question is, if you were to let go of forcing anything, what space would open up for you in your natural alignment? And this is the key part. What space would open up for natural alignment? Not that what I wish would happen, but what would really open up for you if you were to let go and not force anything? Okay. So now here's what I want you to do is I want you to take a look at all the stuff that you wrote down, especially answering those questions. And either you can just notice them, circle them, whatever works for your energy to connect with it. But I want you to notice the themes throughout those questions or what it is that you're experiencing. The repetitions, maybe the nudges your body experiences, maybe the intuitive hits that you were given. And I just want you to take a look at that. And the reason that we're just looking at them is that it brings it into our awareness of where we are currently are at. And then, of course, all of you know awareness is the first step towards making transformation. So when we know where we are at, that moment you name your season, you can fully embrace it and you can begin to move with it instead of trying to go against it. What themes or repetitions do you notice? Clearly, during this time, I know that I'm in the winter season because I've mentioned numerous times about wanting to just sit on the couch and watch Netflix. That is where my flow is right now. I'm gonna snuggle up in some sweats and blankets, grab my puppers, and just watch some Netflix. And you know what? That's okay because I need that time to just zone out and laugh at comedies and watch mindless shows. It's coming soon. I can't wait. But the reason I bring this up is because cycles are sacred. Our cycles are sacred. Each one that we move into is a space and a container of sacredness and sovereignty. So every time that you are in a moment that might feel slow, hard, or even stagnant, again, all part of the rhythm. When you are in moments of where you are on it, you are on fire, that's totally part of that sacred cycle. I love it. Jen and I are on the same page. We are both currently cocooning in winter. Absolutely. I love winter. Okay, so let's move into the second half of this, which I feel this is the half that people struggle with the most, and that's the illusion of stagnation. Again, I really struggle with this part because my body and my nervous system from the time I was itty bitty has always been on the go. Go, 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 go. I have to do this. I have to do that. So learning to embrace the cycle of calm and peace and of rest is always something that's really difficult for me. But it's actually difficult for a lot of people because we fall into the illusionment of stagnation. So let's talk about this rhythm. I just want you to sit with that idea and just pause for a moment. Is this something that you fall into when things don't feel or appear to be moving? And mind you, everybody's cycle is different. And each season that you're in flows differently. So, for example, me being in cocooning in the winter cycle, I know that that averages for me about 2.5 months. And when I come out of January, I can feel myself revving up. And when March hits, I'm like, yes, I am on fire. But that's the way that my cycle flows. But during those months can be really difficult for me. So a lot of times people come into this moment really feeling like they're stuck. They kind of look around, going, what's happening? Because they believe or what they're seeing or they think they're seeing is no visible progress, that there may be no obvious movement going forward. And then what do? We immediately label ourselves as failing or, I'll be honest, I said it the other day, I feel like such a loser, I feel useless. But these are the things and thoughts that we oftentimes move into. But here's the truth. We're not stuck. We're never fully stuck. We're just in that rhythm. And again, when we can recognize that rhythm, it makes us a lot easier to just take a breath and say, it's okay. And, I talked earlier about stillness, and most people truly, truly fear stillness. And again, they equate that stillness to, not moving forward or failure, or I'm really stuck. And that, being in that pause phase is I'm just stagnant. It's not true. In alchemy, that's part of it's a gestation process. We all have to go through that process in order for us to alchemize and transform into what it is that we are becoming, that next stage. So I want to go back to the ocean because I think the ocean is always a great example of how rhythm works. Just a reminder, the tide comes in, the tides retreat, the waves rise, and they fall. If the ocean resisted the ebb and flow of its rhythm, there would be so much chaos. And in that chaos, the next step can't form. So when we relate that to our lives, when we are in that rhythm or in that flow of maybe retreating, if we create chaos, it's really hard for us to get back into coherent harmony with the field to then create the next wave that's coming for us. So, your energy, your ideas, your creativity all have natural cycles. The pause, even though it feels stagnant, it's the preparation phase. And the contraction, we all need that contraction to allow for expansion. And so, just so that we can really connect with this, I want you to go back, just close your eyes, and I want you again to look at your own breath. And what I want you to do is, I want you to inhale as deeply as you can and then hold it for as long as you can, and then exhale and pause. And that pause isn't empty. Actually, biologically, we cannot we cannot actually empty out everything that is in our lungs. It's the same way in life. This is part of the rhythm. Believe it or not, even on when we think we exhale everything out of our lungs, we actually have a reserve that is sitting there, pausing and waiting for us at the right time to reconnect with it. Oh, I love it. So, when you feel stuck, and this is some practicality for it, ask yourself, am I resisting my natural pause? Am I trying to force momentum that isn't aligned with my current rhythm? And then pause and notice where this arises in your body. Do you feel tightness? Do you feel anxiety? Do you feel frustration? And those are all clues that are coming from your mind of wanting to control your rhythm. And I'm going to tell you, your mind cannot control your rhythm because it's this natural cycle, it's this universal law, and this rhythm is still going to naturally guide you. And if you're like me and I go against it, my rhythm is also going to slap me up beside the head and says, you're not in alignment yet, let it flow. So I'm going to share before I keep going. So Nikki shared something in the chat, and I love this. She said in human design, it says this she said for you and me. So Nikki knows all about my human design. We talk about it a lot. And she said, that's why we like to be in active. It's so weird being in rest/pause. And she's laughing about it. And I agree. And she says, for our human design environment, and she's talking about the arrows. left is active. And I'm guessing her and I both need stimulating environment. And that's true. I actually create my environment to be stimulating. And although it's good, it is also not so good because I have learned through learning these rhythms that I have to create one little space for me that has not no stimuli to it. A place to relax, to calm my nervous system, to really check in to see if I'm in alignment. So to continue Nikki's comment, it says your living space should dispose you to be active, or provide people who motivate you to be active. You'll feel more comfortable in an active environment that stimulates your nervous system to be active. And that's true. Again, my environment. I do like to be active. So, sitting in these pauses are really they become uncomfortable for me. They're really hard. But again, in taking the time to really understand my natural rhythm, even though I still fight it at times, has really helped me to calm my nervous system. And you'll see in the next class, we're going to be talking about how to really work with our nervous system in these rhythms because our nervous system really does control everything that we do. So it is important for us to learn it, to know it, and to understand it so that we can come back into our natural rhythms. Thank you for your comment, Nikki. I appreciate that. And thank you also for seeing me. I appreciate that as well. Okay, so the next time that you feel stuck, take a deep breath and just say to yourself, I'm not stuck, I'm integrating. I'm preparing, I'm moving with my rhythm. And keep saying that because sometimes we have to repeat those things for them to fully integrate into our body. And just allow that truth to just really settle into your body. And again, it's about connecting with our bodies. So even in saying that, if you feel tension or maybe you feel ease, just trust what's coming in and just know that unseen work is happening beneath that surface. Because again, we're always in motion, even in stillness. The law of rhythm, the law of vibration states this. Oh, you're welcome, Nikki. Okay, so now we're going to take everything that we have learned so far and we're going to bring this into our body. Because, like I said earlier, the law of rhythm isn't just a theory and it's not just an idea, it's an actual physical experience that we move through on the daily. So, what I want you to do is, I just want you to sit, if you can, sit straight up, feet on the ground. Let's get that nice straight spine. And then, when you feel safe enough, just go ahead and close your eyes. And just take another slow inhale through your nose, pausing before you exhale. And then gently exhale through your mouth. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. And then go ahead and do it one more time. And now I want you to go back to imagining in the very beginning when we were imagining that we were the ocean. I want you to really connect with that. And I want you to feel it. Maybe your ocean is warm, you're in warm waters, maybe it's nice and cool. Maybe it feels good to just touching your skin. And then what I want you to do is I want you to absorb completely into that ocean and become the ocean. And as you become this beautiful, magnificent ocean, let it sink with the rhythm of your heart and your breath. So each with each breath and with each heartbeat, feel the rise and fall of each one of your waves. The rise and fall. Rise and fall. And now I want you to actually physically move and begin to sway slowly. It could be from front to back, side to side. And I really want to somatically get this into your rhythm. So allow your body to move with the rise and fall of your waves. And I just want you to somatically connect into that beautiful ocean that you are. And just let your body just move naturally. And there is no right way or wrong way to do this, but really connect and allow the sway and rhythm of your body to connect into the sway and the rhythm of your breath and your heart as the waves go up, the waves come down. And as you inhale, the waves rise. As you exhale, the waves fall. And I just want you to stay in that motion just for a minute or two, letting your body just remember what it feels like to flow without forcing and just let it flow. And I'm just going to allow you to just kind of sit in silence for a little bit and allow the flow and the rhythm of all of that to just move and feel it in your body. Beautiful. You are the rhythm of your own ocean. And feel how good that feels when we just allow ourselves to be that ocean, when we release the resistance and we just allow our energy to just flow with it. All right. And when you're ready, you can just take a deep breath and just come back. Beautiful. Okay. And just for right now, I just kind of want you to just kind of sit with this. Let's just kind of take that pause. Just allow ourselves to just be in whatever moment that we're in, giving ourselves permission and acceptance to be in whatever flow we are currently in right now in this moment. And know that it's okay wherever you're at. Okay. Now that we have felt the rhythm in our bodies, we have reflected on our cycles, I really want to bring this again back into everyday life. Again, law of rhythm, not just a concept. It is practical, it is tangible, and it is designed to guide us in our work, in our relationships, in our health, our creativity, within our families, our purpose, everything that creates who we are. So when you learn to live in harmony with your natural cycles, not my cycle, not the cycle of everybody that's on this call or anybody that you meet, your own individual cycle, life can start to become easier, more aligned, and more abundant. The hard part is really understanding your cycles and then not resisting the cycles of whatever phase that you're in. So we're gonna go back just a little bit when we were talking about tracking our cycles and honoring our phases. I really now having this understanding. Let's go back to the idea of tracking your cycles. Awareness. Awareness is the first step of mastery. So we need to start observing patterns in your energy, in your emotions, and your mental clarity. When we have a pattern disrupt in our natural rhythm, it can look like irritation. It can look like a sudden bout of lack of motivation. It can come as, oh, I'm really tired all of a sudden. And so those are key things because what happens is that our brain is always scanning the environment. And believe it or not, our brain is actually designed to scan the environment for threats, is what it's really looking for, and how it can protect us. So, if there is something within our environment, our internal environment, our external environment, our brain always gives a signal to our body that there is a disruption in the flow of our pattern. And it's literally going, wake up, pay attention to this. We've been so conditioned to ignore it and to push through that we constantly put ourselves out of alignment. We constantly put ourselves into those rhythms that sometimes reflect as flight, fight, freeze modes. And so when we can pay attention to our cycles, we can then catch ourselves and ask ourselves, am I in my natural rhythm? Am I in alignment? Is this my truth? So when you track your cycles, and highly recommend it, notice the times of day there might be a disruption. I have a disruption all the time. It's been like this for years. It can come in many different forms. When I hit 2 p.m., I don't know why. I don't know what it is exactly, but my body is signaling. And I can tell you in my, like, that's part of my natural rhythm and flow when it is 2 o'clock my time because I have some sort of disruption. Or that, like I said, that disruption, I may go from being like really calm and cool and just enjoying my day to all of a sudden panic of, oh my gosh, I have to get stuff done. And I start to feel my nervous system start to rev up. Or it could be the opposite. I'm feeling very productive. I'm doing really good. And then at 2 o'clock, I'm like, oh, I need my nap. So track the times of days when you have those fluctuations. Notice during the week when you have those same fluctuations. And once you start tracking them, you can go back and you can actually start to see within your month at the exact times that you feel expansive, when you feel creative, when you feel most social, or maybe when you feel introspective. And once you have an idea of how those rhythms flow, if I know that between 10 10 and maybe a little bit before 2 o'clock is when I'm most creative. That's when I want to do and step into that creativity. If it's, and I'm working on this, if it is before 10 o'clock, maybe that's when I feel most expansive, and that's when I want to sit in quiet time and meditation and just kind of sit in that stillness to really connect with source, the field, God, whatever resonates with you. Or maybe for me, I just hit me that my most expansive time is wanting to be left alone with my coffee in the morning. But however it works for you, there's no wrong way. And then, or also maybe again, like I talked about at 2 o'clock, my little 2 o'clock alarm goes off, and maybe I feel drained. Maybe all of a sudden I'm irritable. Maybe that's the time that I actually really do need quiet time. So when we keep a rhythm if we keep a rhythm in a journal for at least 30 to 60 days, you can track your physical energy, your emotional state, your focus, creativity, mood swings. And be honest when you put your mood swings in there because you want to see them, and you will start to see like literally it all. Like when you go back to look at it, you'll see it light up where those patterns emerge. And then you really start to learn your own personal tides. So, why does this matter? It matters because once you see your natural ebb and flow, you can plan life, like I said, in alignment with it. Your high energy periods for creation, decision making, and visibility come up. So you know that's the time that I want to do whatever it is that I'm doing. You'll notice your low energy periods, and you can give yourself permission to rest, reflect, or even sit there and integrate whatever it is you're needing to integrate. And you'll know when you're fighting against the rhythms of your day, week, month, year, because you will fall into exhaustion, that irritability. Some people experience it as anger, depression, all those things you'll be able to see and learn and really embrace about yourself. So when we lean into our rhythm, it creates efficiency, it creates calm, peace, and clarity for us. Okay, so we talked about honoring the rest phase. The majority of the world lives in a culture that is obsessed with hustle, always doing, always moving. Unless you're my friend, I have a friend who does not embrace the hustle culture, never has. I met him playing soccer. Even when he played soccer, he had an even flow in the way that he played soccer. He didn't rush anything. And I always sat there and thought, oh my gosh, I would love to be in his flow because my entire life I have lived in the culture that is obsessed with hustle, always doing, always moving, always on the go. But again, rhythm requires pause. And now that I think about it, he probably is out of sync if he's always in the rhythm, in in that really gentle rhythm, because there were times where I was like, "Let's go! You need to show up on time." But that was just his flow. But anyways, I digress a little bit. But we always want to also understand that rhythm has that pause. Oh my gosh, I love it. Jen said, my husband is a pokey little puppy, never in a hurry for anything. See, he's just in that rhythm of like just like in the flow. But Jen, I bet you totally understand when I said my friend, there was moments where I'm like, come on, hurry up. We gotta be somewhere. But we just want to embrace that pause. When we look at nature, in itself, nature itself goes through this rhythm. And this rhythm is part of that alchemization process of transforming and renewing, getting rid of the old and being getting prepared for what the new is. So when let's take in a tree for example, a tree does not always produce fruit all year long. And it has moments where it rests, where it has the rhythm of having to draw in nutrients inward and upward. And then it stores that energy for the next season. And then when that next season comes for the fruit to grow and ripen, it is beautiful and magnificent. And your tree is full of these beautiful oranges, lemons, apples, whatever your tree is. And I love it. Yes, Blair. There's also overlapping cycles where sometimes the spring phase is stronger than the other phase. Absolutely. We're gonna have you'll have moments where you will have those phases where you're gonna be like, "Woo, I'm feeling really good right now." And so it's really important to recognize that. And I love that you said that because as we move from one phase to the other, and I'm going to kind of go back to a little bit of like that stagnation period. When we are in, let's say we're going from winter to spring, there is a section in there where it does start to overlap and it does start to bleed through a little bit. And in that pocket, you can experience confusion, chaos, because your cycles are trying to move with that ebb and flow into that frequency, into that vibration, into the next phase. I can tell you when I go from winter to spring, my chaos feel like I'm going to tell you, my body starts to really rev up. I don't sleep as well because I literally wake up from the energy that's being produced as I'm moving through into that next phase. When I hit this time of year, it's almost like I don't even have like that overlapping period. I go from being really good to down, and my body completely shuts off. So pay attention to that. So yes, thank you, Blair, for bringing that up. All right. So reminder, rest is not laziness. So I have to tell myself that when I'm sitting on the couch binging Netflix. Rest is preparation. It is integration. And every pause, every slow, every moment where we feel that we're just kind of gently, and even if it feels like it's almost a stop flowing with life, it's actually a very powerful part of your cycle. And if we go back to the idea of reframing that, when you're in that, if we do a reframe of I'm in the most powerful part of my cycle, and we continue to just kind of rewire our brain and our subconscious to embrace that, even when you hit those rest moments, they won't feel so difficult. Okay. So, here's the practical tip. During low energy phases, schedule your restorative activities in that meditation, gentle walks, reading. It might even be a time of reflection on life or lessons that you've learned. Again, take a spa day if you need a spa day. I like to walk out in nature when I'm in this mode, mostly because it does help in my regenerative phase, but also there's something that when I'm in that pause, that gives me time to really embrace the beauty of nature. So when I'm feeling like, and I go for a walk, it creates that reframe for me in the phase that I'm in. So by syncing with your rest periods, you really can ensure that the next level of expansion can be potent, can be aligned, can feel really powerful. Okay, so let's talk about the flow with emotional waves. Because usually this is the part that intertwines with the rest. And it's important for us to recognize both. Remember, emotions are not interruptions, it's feedback and it's rhythm with the motion that we are in. Happiness, sadness, anger, even fear are all part of that pulse and rhythm of life. When we take that and we try to suppress it or even bypass that, that creates that stagnation or that I know you all have felt that, but like that internal pressure that we feel inside. Mine feels like a boiling pot, like it's going to explode at any moment. But if we can look at our emotions like that water in the ocean and how our emotions move like water and allow it to flow, it can become so much easier as we move through these rhythms. So when we dam them up, what we need to realize is that eventually they're going to overflow. And it's in usually in that overflow that we kind of our nervous system kind of goes into that trauma response because we're not allowing them to just flow, to release, to integrate, and we're not giving them an opportunity to really move into clarity. So, in all honesty, our rhythm is emotional honesty. So, some practical ways to flow with your emotion. We take our breath for granted. We wake up in the morning breathing, we go to bed and sleep through the night breathing. We don't really pay attention to our breath. So, one of the ways to help with this flow, especially with emotions, is taking time out or really breathing consciously and noticing what arises without judgment. Taking some time out to just recognize your breath. So, a very good example is I've been doing my own nervous system work. And I'm going to tell you the last few days, what I have been catching is myself holding my breath and clenching my jaw. That's not part of our natural rhythm. Our natural rhythm is that in and out that flows, right? But I was stopping that rhythm. And so I had to take a step back and say, why am I clenching my jaw? Why am I holding my breath? And then allow those emotions to flow up and allow them to move through my body with their natural flow, with my breath, with that rhythm. And the clenching of the jaw and the holding of the breath was actually my overflow of not allowing these to flow. And that's how my overflow was reacting. And I was clenching my jaw so tight that my teeth have been sore the last couple of days. Like, that's a serious overflow issue of not allowing things to flow through my rhythm. And then another thing is just in the day, because, even sitting here, we've been sitting here for an hour and a half, staring at a screen. You've been listening to me talk this whole time. But even in that, we sit in stillness because that's what we've been taught. We have to sit in stillness, pay attention. But we can still pay attention and our body wants to naturally flow. So allow your body in whatever it is that you're doing a moment to just move. Maybe it's to stretch. Maybe you need to get up and kind of walk around. Maybe if you get a little crazy like I do sometimes, I turn on music and I dance really awful because I'm not a good dancer. But you know what? There's times when we need that to just move. That's why in the middle of this workshop, I had you guys swaying and just feeling your body because our bodies actually need that. And that sway and that movement and that crazy dancing and stretching and walking actually resets us to help us get back into the flow that has now become disrupted. And then, of course, we did this as well. Journaling helps, or just speaking out loud to release whatever is coming in. Sometimes it's okay for us to talk to ourselves. I admitted yesterday that I do that when I'm out in public and people look at me like I'm completely out of my mind. But you know what? They're not in my body, they're not in my rhythm. So maybe what I need to do is look like I'm having a conversation with myself, and that's okay. Every once in a while, I've had people join in, but we just need to be able to give ourselves permission to be in our own rhythm. And remember, each wave has a purpose. Every emotion teaches you something about yourself and about your life's rhythm. Okay, I just want you to take a deep breath in. Just take a pause, allowing this to just come into your system, into your body. Just let it flow in. And as you allow yourself to let it just flow in whatever season and rhythm that you're in, we are telling our bodies, we are telling our mind, soul, body, but specifically our nervous system, that we are giving ourselves permission to just be in the rhythm of who we are. And remember, living in rhythm is not about rigid schedules or forcing your alignment. It is about noticing, responding, and moving in harmony with your own unique natural cycles. And the beautiful thing is that awareness gives us that insight to practice this and to embody it every moment and every day. So, before we go into the last part, which is another guided meditation that I want to do to integrate rhythm, does anybody have any questions, any comments, or anything that they want to share? You're absolutely welcome to come off mute if you feel comfortable. You can put them in the chat, but I just want to give you a moment to be seen and heard for your rhythm and what it is that you want to share.
I think that the overlapping of the cycles felt pretty strong for me because I was trying to figure out where I was, and then I was like, well, in this area of my life, I feel like I'm in this season, and in that area of my life, I feel like I'm in another season. But it's no different than any of the. It's all the same. And I also, interestingly enough, I noticed that I think you asked a question about like basically how committed are you to that season? And both of them were, I gave them a percent and they were both the same percent.
Ah, I love it. Yes, and Blair, you make a good point, is that even though I kind of took you through the seasons of where you are in your life, but just to kind of reiterate, like you were saying, like there's different parts and different moments of our lives where we are in different seasons. And it's okay to recognize that. Like, for example, I am in hibernation mode, but I love to play soccer. So when I'm in my soccer mode, I'm gonna tell you, it is all summer mode for me when I'm in that. And like you said, Blair, like that, those seasons do overlap with each other. So it's really about coming back to your own awareness of who you are, not what everybody else is and what they're doing. It's always coming back to where am I? How am I feeling? What am I doing? Is there disruption? If there is that a natural disruption or am I creating that disruption? And it's always coming back into your own internal compass. Oh, you're welcome, Jen. Jen said, "Thank you for doing this class. So validating. It is okay to pause. I'm not lazy." No, you are not lazy. You are not lazy. It is your natural rhythm. And you know what? And maybe your winter time takes place during summer. Who cares? It doesn't matter. That is how your rhythm works. Thank you, Blair. Thank you, Jen. Does anybody else have any questions or comments or anything before we dive into this last part of our guided meditation? Because I just want to help you even integrate this even more. Integrate and ground. That's what I want for you guys. Yes, Danielle said the pause feels like a time to gather momentum. Exactly. Yes, yes, yes. I love that. And I think that's the piece that we get a little bit hung up on is that we we see the pause as being failure or stagnant or I'm not going anywhere, I'm not doing anything with my life. And I kind of love that this is the way the universe does this is by pulling us back to put us into that pause because on a on a frequency level, okay, let's get into a little bit of quantum physics, right? On a frequency level, in order for the universe or for our frequency, it really I'm referring to universe. I'm talking about who what our whole way of being is that we don't often go well, we think we do because we're in that hustle culture, right? But we don't go from like 0 to 60 in half a second. Like even a car as it starts going off the line and it's at a stop and then we put our foot on the brake. I have the foot on a brake. Sorry, that's when we're at the stop. But when we put our foot on the pedal, even when we push it all the way down, if you ever notice, your car kind of has a bit of a pause before it takes off because it needs that pause and then it starts to pick up speed to reach that whatever speed that we're wanting to do. If you're an adrenaline junkie like me, I'm like, let's go as fast as it can go. But it needs that time to pick up that momentum. So that time between where it's stopped and where we're at full speed, that is part of that pause. And believe it or not, I use that example of the car because the car is still in forward momentum. So maybe if this helps is imagine that you're in the car and even when you're in that pause phase and it might feel heavy, however it might feel in your system. No, the car is still moving forward. You're not stuck and it's still moving forward and it's gaining that momentum. I love that. Thank you, Danielle. Okay. Are you guys ready to do the integration meditation? All right. So totally just get comfortable. Again, I want you to just feel safe where you are. So maybe it's about just kind of hugging and squeezing yourself. Maybe you want to rub your fingers to let the nerve endings know in your body that they're safe, that they're calm. This is a really good way to calm yourself very quickly is from rubbing the fingers, the nerve endings in your fingers to stimulate them. Because it gives a message to the brain that you're safe. All right. Now go ahead and take a deep breath in, bringing it all the way down, down, down to the bottom of your belly. And then doing an even slower exhale, just slowly exhaling until all of that feels like it's out. Because, like I said earlier, we don't completely release all of our reserves. Okay. Now go ahead and do that again, breathing deep, deep down, and then releasing. Beautiful. And now we're just going to step into that natural rhythm and flow that is yours. And we're going to go back to that ocean's edge. And as you're at that ocean's edge, I just want you to look out at it, admire it, see it. and know that you are one with that ocean. I want you to feel the air and feel how gentle the air is and how soft that sun is. And then I want you to feel the pulse of just life moving around you. That life of just being steady, ancient, alive. And now I want you to watch the waves. And each wave that touches the shore, I want you to open up and hear it telling you to just trust the flow. Trust the flow. Trust the flow. Now, as you continue to breathe, imagine that rhythm of the waves telling you to trust the flow, that rhythm syncing with your heartbeat. And you are now breathing, and your heart is beating with the flow of the waves that come in, whispering, trust the flow. And as they go back out and come back in, just trusting the flow. And I want you to feel how you are not separate from this rhythm. There is no separation from this rhythm ever because you are the rhythm of that flow. And I just want you to sit and just feel and be that rhythm that you are. You are the rhythm. Trusting the flow. And now you can whisper this quietly to yourself out loud or in your head. I flow with life. Feel that. Embody that. Be that because you are the flow. Now, again, whisper quietly to yourself or in your head, whatever feels safe. I trust my timing because, again, you are the rhythm. I trust my timing. And then finally, whispering quietly to yourself or in your head, I honor my rhythm. And I honor my rhythm because I am the rhythm. I honor my rhythm. And I want you to embody those words. I want you to feel those words settle into your body, into your cells, and into your breath. And now take one more deep, beautiful rhythmic inhale, pulling it all the way down, and then allowing that exhale to be beautiful and rhythmic and just long. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes and come back clear, calm, connected into that beautiful rhythm that is yours. Beautiful. So today, all of you remembered your natural rhythm. You now have seen and experienced how life ebbs and flows, and you truly have begun to really step in and feel that power of aligning with your own cycles instead of resisting them. And remember, awareness is powerful, and it is and that alignment in that awareness is very transformative. So over the next 3 weeks, we're going to keep experiencing what we talked about today. We're going to actually really turn it into like a living practice. And this is where rhythm is become something that you embody in every part and every area of your life. In your energy, in the decisions that you make, the work that you do, your relationships, your creativity, and all facets of your life. So, in the next class, next Saturday, we're going to talk about your inner symphony. And that's really about regulating your own rhythm. It is in this class where we're going to really focus on your nervous system. You're going to discover how your body truly mirrors those natural cycles of life, and then learn how to recognize when you are forcing flow instead of allowing it to flow. And we're going to learn how to really create that safety and trust within your body. So when your body is at rest, it doesn't get scary. Or for some, when our body is in action, it can feel scary, or that pause can feel scary. But we're going to create safety so that your body and really your mind, body, and soul all understand that it's all part of the rhythm and create a seamless rhythm for you. So, this is where we're going to learn how to regulate energy instead of wrestling with it. And so that's next Saturday on the 13th at the same time. And then class number two, which will be on the 20th, we're going to step into our leadership. We're going to step into the flow state of our leadership, and we're going to really align with our divine timing. And this is the place where timing meets aligned action for you, not in the hustle bustle way, in a way that feels natural for your system. And you are going to be able to learn how to sense those energetic windows when creation feels effortless, and knowing that it's time to step through that window, and also again how to honor your life's natural pauses without labeling them and judging them as being stuck or wrong. So it's going to be in this class where we're really going to embody all of that of what we did today. And then you'll begin to live and lead in this harmonious life with the same intelligence that flows with the tides and every beat of your heart. So we're going to take these concepts and we're literally going to put them into a living practice. And that is all that I have for you guys today. I hope you enjoyed the first class or the first workshop into just kind of introducing what law of rhythm is, giving you a chance to experience it, give you a chance to just really connect and start bringing into your awareness. That's what we did today. We brought into your awareness your own personal seasons. So thank you guys for being here and sharing and just being a part of us really co-creating this beautiful space together. So thank you. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. And I look forward to seeing all you guys on Saturday, next Saturday. Same time.